I was recently invited to play on a Minecraft Pokemon server with other Twitch streamers. The mod we were playing is called Cobblemon, and it actually has a pretty solid recreation of the Pokemon battle system. You run around the Minecraft world catching wild Pokemon and train them up, just like in the real game. And the server will last 2 weeks that culminate in a Pokemon tournament, where each player will be given 8 random Pokemons, and you must choose 4 of them to battle in a 2v2 format. Now, I'm not exactly a Pokemon expert. Like most millennials, my Pokemon knowledge only exists for the original 151. So when they told me there's over 1,000 Pokemons now, my mind was kind of blown. What the heck is this Pokemon? It's a bridge. And this? It's called Trubbish. It's the garbage Pokemon. Now, learning competitive Pokemon was not easy. Even the most basic mechanic, Pokemon typing, and weaknesses had my head spinning. I knew the very common fire beats grass, which beats water, which beats fire. But that was about the extent of my competitive knowledge. But did you know that rock beats flying? Because I guess when you think about it, if you hit a bird with a rock, it will probably kill the bird. I didn't even know there was a dark type. And dark beats ghosts, because ghosts are afraid of the dark. I feel like ghosts actually like the dark, but there's 18 types and 120 interactions between these 18 types, so part of it is just learning. Anyways, after spending some time learning all the basics, I was given my 8 random Pokemon. I had Dragapult, Wobbuffet, Gholdengo, Gelidirge, Luxray, Shiinotic, Meowscarada, and Clefairy. I recognize Clefairy because it was part of the original 151 Pokemon. The others, I don't know too. I know Wobbuffet because in the anime he pops up, he goes Wobbuffet. To help me choose my Pokemon team, I consulted with my secret weapon, Pokemon World Championship semi-finalist Mr. James Beck, for advice on building my team as well as the general strategy behind it. Wobbuffet is a bit of a meme because its ability is to die and take the opponent down with it. But in the 2v2 format, your opponent can just focus on the Pokemon that's not Wobbuffet. So it's out. I want to bring Gholdengo and Dragapult because they're both really strong. The only downside is they're both ghost types, which makes the team really weak to any dark type Pokemon. This will be very important later. I repeat, this would make the team very weak to any dark type Pokemon. So with these 2 ghost types locked in, we definitely cannot take a 3rd ghost type, so Gelidirge is out. The next 2, Shiinotic and Luxray, they have some utility, like Shiinotic can make the opposing Pokemon sleep, and Luxray can intimidate the enemy Pokemon so they're weaker and can switch out, but they're both generally considered subpar because of their bad stats. Clefairy is a great support Pokemon because she has the ability to redirect any attack aimed at her partner and is tanky enough to live several hits. And finally, Meowscarada rounds out the team as a grass dark type Pokemon that allows me to have more coverage for my weaker typing. So if there's a water type, Meowscarada would do very well into that. So essentially, my team consists of 3 glass cannons in Gholdengo, Dragapult, and Meowscarada. They're all really fast, they hit really hard, but they fall over to a light breeze, and 1 Clefairy, which will support them with its positive attitude. With my team ready, it was time for the tournament. It was a 28-man bracket, best of 1 single elimination, which means 14 of us will be going home after the first round. You only get 1 shot. And so, the matchups were drawn, and I get Shoto, one of the better players on the server. My chat was extremely nervous for me. Most of them even started typing GG's before the match even started. Me and him went to our battlefield, got our Pokemon ready, and began our duel. At this point, we don't really know what Pokemon everyone's bringing because we're all so focused on ours, and plus everyone got 8 Pokemon, so you don't have a solid idea of which 4 they chose. So the battle starts, and I see Shoto bring out this giant samurai beetle looking motherfucker with a giant sword sticking out of its head. This is King Gambit, and the worst part about King Gambit is that it's a dark type. Remember what I said about dark type being good against my ghost types? Yeah, this is bad news. But I knew I had to win by leaning on my 2 strongest Pokemon, Gholdengo and Dragapult. Gholdengo is considered to be one of the best Pokemon in competitive history. It has 3 type immunities, 9 type resistance, and only 4 type weakness. Its unique ability, Good as Gold, makes it immune to status moves, and a unique attack called Make It Rain hits both of them, which is great in a 2v2 format. Goldango was actually Pokemon number 1000, so you know the Pokemon Company made him special. His partner Dragapult is part of a category called Pseudo-Legendaries. Most of you will probably recognize Dragonite as one of them. So Dragapult is an extremely fast attacker, has a special move called Dragon Darts, where Dragapult will shoot his children that's residing in his ear cannons. And how it works is, if there's 2 enemy Pokemons, it fires a baby at each one, dealing good damage to both. Shoto's other Pokemon is the Salamence, which is a dragon type, and dragons are weak to other dragons. And I have a Dragapult who's a dragon, and Dragapult will always be faster than Salamence because Dragapult is speedy. So round 1, my Dragapult fires off his darts, boom, bop, instantly knocks out his Salamence in 1 hit and deals good damage to King Gambit. And after this, I'm feeling very confident.
Come on, man. Why you gotta do me like that?
Mega loser.
Toast!
I took out one of his strongest Pokemon, and his King Gambit is down to half. But this is where things went wrong. While I was doing my damage, while Dragapult was shooting his babies, King Gambit decided to do Swords Dance, a move that doubles his damage for the rest of the battle. But that's okay, right? Because Dragapult is fast and King Gambit is slow, so my Dragapult should always be able to move faster than the King Gambit. Maybe I can get lucky and knock it out before it attacks? Well, what I didn't know about is this move called Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is an attack that will always go first if the targeted Pokemon is gonna attack. So even though my Dragapult is fast, the moment my Dragapult tries to attack, the King Gambit can hit it with a Sucker Punch. And because of the Sword Dance and the Dark typing, this means that this King Gambit will one-shot all the Pokemons I have. And because of this, it all went wrong. Round after round, King Gambit started punching my Pokemon, knocking all of them out in just 1 hit. Even though all my Pokemon was faster, it didn't matter. With Sucker Punch, it made sure that my Dragapult could never click an attack. It made sure my Goldango, my strongest Pokemon, also couldn't click any attacks because it would just punch it before it had a chance to move. And just like that, my tournament run came to an end. What, you set up one Sword Dance and that's it?
Oh my god, man, GG's.
I thought I was the main character, but I was just Trainer Bob on Route 7. All that learning, all that training was for nothing. I lost to a giant beetle. And what's worse is in this tournament format, when you lose, you have to give up one of your Pokemon to the winner. And obviously, Shoto chose the best one, my Goldango. And so I wandered the streets of our city, lost. I wanted to be the very best like no one ever was, but I didn't even get past the first round. And that's when I came upon Leslie.
Hello.
Hey, you
Hey.
doing okay?
No, I'm a loser.
Unbeknownst to me, Leslie also lost her opening match. To her own mistake, she accidentally punched her own Pokemon.
Wait, why did I kill myself? Wait, did I click my own Pokemon?
And just like me, she studied really hard for this. She prepared so much. And to go out on a mistake like that was really rough. And I was 100% caught off guard when I heard her speak. You know, this isn't the end of the journey.
It's not.
No, this is just the beginning.
I just didn't think it would go out like this. We both lost, huh? Everyone thinks I'm an Omega loser for crying about Pokemon. Fuck!
You know, Ash Ketchum didn't win his first tournament until season 10.
So this is just season 1.
With both of us feeling sad that we didn't get to play more, we decided to have a loser off.
Trader Toast! We will find out who the biggest loser is after all.
A battle between me and her to see which one of us is the biggest loser. And I brought in my secret weapon because I lost Goldango, Wobbuffet, hoping that maybe this meme Pokemon actually have some potential. It did not. She destroyed me because my last Pokemon was a Wobbuffet and it just stood there menacingly and did nothing. And so I was crowned the biggest loser on the server.
Yes! I'm not the biggest loser after all. Thank God. Oh my God. Holy shit. I thought I was like the Omega loser. Woo!
But at least my spirits was fine. It was raised from our battle, and me and Leslie went to watch the remainder of the tournament. But here's the thing though. Remember, this tournament had 28 people. Eliminate 14. But then what happens when you eliminate half of that? Well, you're left with 7, an odd number. So the tournament reached the semifinals with 7 players.
We are now in the semifinals.
Woohoo!
However, we are in a situation where we only have 7 people for the semifinals. So
I'm ready to come back in.
we could do a quick losers bracket.
Losers bracket! So, of the 21 players that lost, there will be a losers bracket. And the winner will join the remainder 7 players in the top 8 semifinals. Everyone was really excited, ran to their PCs to collect their Pokemon, and so it commenced, the losers bracket. And for this, a rule was made. You are allowed to ask for your Pokemon back for the losers bracket, but you have to return it to the winner at the end. So Shoto gracefully allowed me to use my Goldengo for the losers bracket. My first opponent was Ryan Higa. The thing about Ryan is, instead of spending the 2 weeks on the server playing Pokemon, he decided to spend his time creating an epic music-filled gym where if you press a button, it plays a Pokemon battle theme, which meant he did not have time to actually train his team. And so, I was able to beat Ryan and win essentially my first match of the tournament. This got my confidence going.
No!
I did it! My first tournament win! I won't have to myself! Next up, I had Giga. This was a tough one, and it really just came down to just one of my Pokemon surviving at the very end. She had 2 low health Pokemon, and thankfully, I had Dragapult, whose special move, as I remind you, is called Dragon Darts, shooting 1 baby at each Pokemon, guaranteeing a knockout on both. With the victory secured, it was time for the finals of the losers bracket. But there's an awkward thing here. There's 3 of us. It's me, Sykkuno, and Peter Park.
Toast, Sykkuno, Peter. How do you guys wanna?
I'd like to
decide
battle
this?
Toast because if I end this tournament without battling him, I'd be sad.
We are 2 main characters, and everyone else are just supporting us.
Get
true. Just give
over
them-
yourself.
We're the only 2 people that matter on the server. So how do you have a finals with 3 people? Me and Sykkuno agreed to 1v1 and give Peter the bye, but we decided to just spin a wheel, and whoever's name gets picked gets to go on to the finals.
It's Toast.
Yippee! I'm the main character!
He's the main character!
And it was me! I move on to the final, and Peter and Sykkuno battle it out. Sykkuno have a very strange strategy, reliant on his Dubwool, the sheep Pokemon. Now, Dubwool, it doesn't do a lot. What it does do is raise its defense really, really high, and use its move Rest where it goes to sleep. That's it. But Sykkuno has a secret strategy. One move being defense up. The other move, Rest, which puts it to sleep. But then it has a move called Body Press, which deals extra damage depending on its defense. So Sykkuno's strategy is to raise its defense super high so that it can use Body Press and slam the enemy Pokemon. And its fourth move is called Sleep Talk, which allows it, while sleeping, to attack. It's very unconventional, and it actually worked. Sykkuno lost his 3 other Pokemon off the bat really fast against Peter, and it was just down to this one Dubwool, this one sheep. And its defense was so high that Peter could not do anything to it, and it just kept sleeping, healing, and eventually just sat on Peter's Pokemon and won.
Double, you
Oh
did it!
my
My
You did it,
God.
Double!
That's why he's the main character!
Wulu Club on top!
Which sets the stage for the losers bracket final. Me against Saikuno. We wish each other the best of luck, and the battle is on. Alright, Saikuno.
You ready, Toast?
Only one of us can move on.
Uh-oh.
Whatever happens, you'll always be my friend.
It's time for a battle. Turn on the music. Let's go, Toast.
To be honest, it was kind of easy because knowing Saikuno had double, all I had to really do was save Godango in the back. Because double is really strong against physical attackers like my Dragapult, but very weak against special attackers like my Goldango. Should be slow. Terrestrialize into Dragon!
What?
Losing the ghost, weakness,
Wait,
and
he's gonna
advantages,
one-shot.
but increases the
Dragon
damage!
Darts, It's gonna kill.
What? That kills everybody!
Dang.
Oh, God!
Oh my god.
It crit.
He's too strong. He's just too strong.
Stupid dog will die.
Now it's Ursa Luna.
But it's being used right now.
I'm eating lamb skewers for dinner tonight, baby.
Hell yeah.
Helping hand the Dragapult to
Helping
increase the
hand.
damage!
Is this gonna one-shot
Dragon
too?
Pew! Yeah.
Ursa Luna, you
Pew!
nothing. Oh my god. That was
Got
like 2 turns. I mean, yeah, there's nothing I could do against that.
Wow.
I took Saikuno's Darmanitan because now that I'm in the top 8, I do have to return Godango to Shoto. And Darmanitan fits my strategy of also being a very fast, very strong attacker who's a glass cannon. And it was time for the top 8. I made it through to the top from the losers bracket. So in the semifinals, I had to go up against Yujin. And this was bad because Yujin also had a King Gambit. Oh, I knew that maybe if I just used all my resources to kill the King Gambit, maybe I had a chance. All her other Pokemons were kind of strong, but nothing as threatening as this King Gambit. I threw everything I had at this King Gambit. Fortunately, the Darmanitan that Saikuno gave me had a fire move. And King Gambit is a steel type, and fire melts steel beams. Darmanitan goes in for a Flare Blitz and takes ton of recoil damage. Dragapult shoots its darts as fast as it can at the Salamence, but not before the Salamence has a chance to take out my Darmanitan. And so, this was the final round. My reliable Dragapult surviving with only 20% health against a fully healthy Barraskewda as well as a relatively healthy Salamence. But here's the thing, when everyone was throwing in the GGs, I even thought I was done. I remembered one thing from my match against Shoto. My Dragapult was able to one-shot his Salamence at 100 HP. So realistically, I only need one Dragon Dart for Yujin's Salamence. Which meant, if I could knock out her Barraskewda from 100 health off one single Dragon Dart, there is a world I can still win. Barraskewda is fast, Salamence is fast, but no Pokemon is quite as fast as a Dragapult. It all came down to this. Can Dragapult win the 1v2? And so, Dragapult pulls it out, one-shotting both Pokemon with a Dragon Dart. Dragon Dart!
GG.
Oh my god. GG.
How did it do that?
Dragon Darts hit both!
Done.
I move on to the top 4. Now the top 4 is really important because this is the last chance you're going to steal a Pokemon from your opponent. And you have to lock in everything. You can still change your Terra types. You can still change your moves. You can still change which 4 Pokemons you want to bring. But once you lock it in for the top 4, you cannot change it for the finals. You have to commit to these 4 Pokemons with their moves. And of course, I have to take King Gambit. King Gambit has been nothing but a thorn at my side this entire tournament. But maybe it can be the reason why I win. I consult with my coach and he makes a crucial recommendation. King Gambit would be one of the few Pokemons on my team capable of learning the move Low Kick. Low kick is a fighting move, and what's special about low kick is that it deals increased damage based on the size of the opposing Pokemon. And there's some big Pokemon in the top 4. But not only that, it's a fighting type move, and fighting type move is the only way you can deal with opposing King Gambit, because it is effective against Dark and it is effective against Steel, which means any fighting type move against a King Gambit will almost always knock it out in one attack. And so we decide on our 4 Pokemon. Old reliable Dragapult, Cheerleader Clefairy, the newly introduced King Gambit with low kick, and an Assault Vest item which protects it from special attacks, and Sykkuno's Darmanitan for fast damage. And just like that, the top 4 matches began. I'm up against my roommate Quarter Jade, who is playing Pokemon for the first time, but has somehow made it to the top 4 through both a combination of insane skill or good luck or just intuition. But she has made it further than any Pokemon beginner has any rights to, and it's honestly extremely impressive. But relying on good old Dragapult, I was able to take a fast win, fast tracking me to the finals. Now, most people were expecting one of the Pokemon mains to make it to the finals, like DRXX or Kaya. But Shoto actually ended up beating DRXX to make it to the finals, setting up my rematch with him. The guy who knocked me out in the first round with his King Gambit, sending me to the losers bracket that didn't even exist at the time, using my own Goldango against me, the strongest Pokemon. But I came ready this time. You know what's good against Goldango? King Gambit. And I had one of my own. And with the advice of my coach, my King Gambit was designed to beat other King Gambits with its low kick and protection from his Salamence with Assault Vest. This is where the final battle started. For the finals, it's a best of 3. It's not just winning 1 game, it's winning 2. The fight opens, and expecting King Gambit from him, I open with my own King Gambit. Shoto, up until this point, probably doesn't know that I found a King Gambit along the way. And not only that I trained my King Gambit to beat his. So as soon as the fight began, I knew that Shoto might want a Swords Dance like he did against me in the first round. Because if he can set up Swords Dance, then his Sucker Punch will threaten all my Pokemons. But I remember, I learned. So I opened with my King Gambit using a low kick, kicking him over and knocking out his King Gambit in just 1 attack. The lead was mine, but Shoto was insane with his protect reads. By setting up good protections throughout the fight, he constantly blocked the damage I was able to put on him. This Goldango was proving to be a bit of an issue, but luckily, my good friend Sykkuno gave me his Darmanitan, a fire type. And just like we established earlier, fire melts Steel Beam. A huge hit from Darmanitan takes out his Goldango, leaving him with little options. Remember, he has a Salamence, but my Dragapult checks his Salamence every single time. Victory was secured for Game 1. Game 2 starts, and it's the same lead. King Gambit versus King Gambit. Now Shoto is a smart man. He knows about my low kick now. He knows that he can't keep his King Gambit in, because the moment he leaves it open, he's getting hit with a low kick. So I'm expecting him to not keep King Gambit in. And if that's the case, what should my King Gambit do? Well, his other Pokemon will stay on the board while he swaps out his King Gambit. I need to use this opportunity to not attack his King Gambit with a low kick, because remember, a low kick is a fighting type move. If he brings in his Goldango, a ghost type, it would be immune to my low kick, making me waste a turn. If he brings in the Salamence, fighting moves deal half damage against flying type. So in both cases, it wasn't good to low kick where the King Gambit is. So I chose instead to kowtow cleave his Melodic that was just chilling on the left. The read pays off, and what's even better was Shoto brought in his Salamence. Now Salamence has an ability called Intimidate. When it comes into play, it reduces the attack of enemy Pokemon, which would be effective against my King Gambit, but here's the thing. King Gambit has a special ability of his own called Defiant. Anytime you try and reduce one of his stats, he gains instead attack. With the increased attack from his Intimidate, King Gambit was actually able to one-shot his Melodic with the Kowtow Cleave. Now, just because I got a knockout early does not mean it's secure. Remember, my first match against Shoto, I knocked out his Salamence instantly and still lost the game. I had to keep King Gambit and Clefairy in. Here's the thing. My biggest problem here is his Gholdengo and his King Gambit. His Salamence, while annoying, is a Pokemon I can kinda ignore. If I try and low kick the Gholdengo, it wouldn't work. Now, it's really important that I don't low kick here, because even though low kick will knock out his King Gambit in one move, Shoto can always use his Gholdengo as a ghost type to be immune to it. So I had to start Kowtow Cleaving in the King Gambit / Gholdengo spot. Shoto was comfortable leaving his Salamence and going for the attack every single time, because I'm not interested in dealing with that. Salamence is not a threat. And some insane read by Shoto, swapping in his King Gambit at the right time, swapping his Gholdengo in at the right time, made it really hard for me to knock either Pokemon out. And all the while, his Salamence was hyper-voicing, constantly dealing damage to both my Clefairy and my King Gambit. But it was minuscule thanks to the Assault Vest that was put on King Gambit. I was starting to panic. I wasn't getting in good damage on the Gholdengo or the King Gambit. So I started thinking maybe I should start hitting the Salamence instead. But I knew I had to stay strong, because if I'm unlucky, if I redirect my damage onto the Salamence, the Gholdengo might use an ability called Nasty Plot, which double its damage. Or if I leave the King Gambit unchecked, it can use Sword Dance like it did against me round 1 and double its damage as well. So I had to stick to the plan even though it was hurting, even though the damage was slowly piling on. I knew as long as I kept Kowtow Cleaving on the left, I can eventually wear them down. Because once King Gambit is off the table, I knew old reliable Dragapult was in the back to clean up. And it turns out I didn't even need Dragapult. King Gambit with Clefairy supporting him just kept staying alive, staying on long enough, Kowtow Cleaving over and over and over and over and over again on the Gholdengo, on the King Gambit, wearing the King Gambit down eventually and one-shotting the Gholdengo the moment it stopped protecting, setting the stage for a 4v1. Just Shoto Salamence against my 4 Pokemon. And it turns out in the end, I only really needed 2, Clefairy and King Gambit. King Gambit stayed alive long enough with only 3 health at the end to take out all 4 of Shoto's Pokemon. And so, I was crowned champion. My very first Pokemon tournament win, and I could finally relax.
King Gambit and climbing back is just so
Yeah.
what the hell, man?
That
That's
King
so
Gambit steal was the difference.
Why did you?
GG's everyone.
Sean have a King Gambit. I'm pissed. You know what? It was a good fight. You played well.
You played really well. That Salamence
Your crit,
protect.
bro. Why do you get so many crits?
And this is the feeling I want to chase. And so I decided my next Pokemon challenge would not be in Minecraft, but in actual Pokemon. And I signed up for the Pokemon Regional Championship in Las Vegas coming up in November to give a shot at hopefully experiencing my first real Pokemon tournament. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys next time.